Hey everyone, welcome to another video from Ampro Engineering. What we have is a new product here from FMS. This is the FCX18. We have reviewed a number of the FCX24 vehicles, the most recent of which being the Smasher, which I'm reaching for right now. Here is the Smasher. It was actually out this weekend, that's why the body is off. Technically, what you're looking at here is the Blazer. I just grabbed another body and some different wheels and tires, and it made the Smasher. I adore this truck. I adored the Blazer, the Unimog, the Power Wagon. I loved all of them. What's interesting about this one is this is the FCX18. This is 1/18th scale. This one was 1/24th scale. So I'm assuming that we're going to have a longer wheelbase. This has got a Land Cruiser body, officially licensed by Toyota. They did previously create a vehicle that also had a Land Cruiser body, but they did not call it the Land Cruiser. It comes in three colors. I got the blue one over here. If we turn this around, more basic information there. Here are the dimensions. We have a wheelbase of 160 millimeters. Wheel track, the widest area is 126. I don't like that so much because it does make the tires protrude a bit more. And yes, I understand that'll give you more off-road performance, but I always like when the wheels are tucked underneath. Other basic information here. For those of you unfamiliar, FMS likes to place their vehicles in these little styrofoam boxes. Usually I hate styrofoam, but the fact of the matter is I use the styrofoam boxes to transport these. I love these smaller vehicles because I take them on trips all the time, and because they've got a nice rock solid box, I'm just gonna throw them in the car and they're good to go. Here is our radio. I like these a lot. I know to many of you they seem small. They definitely are small. But the thing is, I will take something this size with all the functionality versus something 385 times the size and then have to carry this all day. Huge fan of this remote. It is not coated with any kind of rubber or soft touch. All of the pattern is actually molded in, and as a result, it gives it kind of a premium look. Everything feels solid. Like this remote doesn't feel spongy or creaky. The wheel feels nice and springy as well. And you've got that thumb action here for the one-handed driving. We'll cover the functionality of the dip switches shortly. And then beneath here, this will take 4 AAA batteries. Straight off the bat, this is not molded in blue. This is definitely painted, I think. Here they've gone ahead and added a matte black wheel arch, this fender molding here, which looks great on it. Absolutely fantastic looking there. Got your little tiny chrome Toyota emblem in the front, which looks really good. Hood opens. Oh, wow. This battery is a lot bigger than the ones the FMS cars usually come with. This is 900 milliamps. On this vehicle, I suspect it's going to last forever. The standard ones are significantly smaller. For comparison, these are the standard FMS batteries, which I use all the time, 380 milliamps, and this will give you a ton of runtime on one of these FCX vehicles. But now we're looking at nearly 3 times the capacity, which is crazy. The tires on these they're nice and squishy. These have foam. So again, the access to the battery is under the hood. This is the on and off switch, I would assume there. And then the controller is way in the back. All right. Usually the bodies on these vehicles will come off rather easily, but in this case, it does appear that the body is rigidly mounted, so we'd have to mechanically unscrew this. The shocks are quite a bit larger than those on the FCX24, and like the ones on the FCX24, they do have oil. However, these come pre-oil filled, which is cool. We've got metal links, well, at least the lower links are metal in the center section for the 4-link. Very nicely molded drive shafts. I've never had any issue with those before on any of the FMS vehicles. Overall, extremely good looking truck. I like the blue. It's not a very common color for this vehicle. This was jammed into one of the little slots in here. I don't know what this is. Oh yeah, that is a charger. Appears to be a significantly more robust charger. I suspect it needs higher current draw to charge the 900 milliamp battery. Here we've got some license plates. I suspect one has been used. Yeah, this yellow one here has been used. We have a trailer hitch, which is really cool. Look at that little guy. It's one of those little hook trailer hitches. And that sucker is installed right back there. That is quite a nice little touch. What we have is a quality control certificate. This might not be something big to many of you, but the fact of the matter is, usually when these companies start off brand new and they're making RC cars or whatever, they need to turn a profit. And early on, what they'll commonly do, a lot of these companies, is to get something out faster and with higher return, is they'll omit the quality control people. Obviously, FMS is long beyond that, and what they are doing is turning out an incredibly quality product. Let's put the battery in this and some batteries in the radio. All right, so to put the batteries in, these are 4 AAA batteries. We're going to use some rechargeable lithium ion 1.5 volt batteries here by Xtar. So that's going to go down, down, and then positive up, positive up. Cool. Now for the car, I have gone ahead and charged this up, although it came relatively well charged. There are particular regulations out there that specify how much charge a battery has to have during transport for safety purposes. I'm not going to bother strapping this down because I do want to take the body off shortly. So we'll just leave it alone like that. Turn the radio on, turn the car on. All right. Okay, let that be. So we have a fully proportional steering, which is great. Nice and smooth also. Absolutely smooth. I believe we're just going to rev. The reason it's just doing that is because the transmission select switch is in the center. This is a 3-position switch. So if we put it to one side, I don't know if this is low or fast. Okay, that is going to be low. And then switching to high. Ugh, what did I just drop? We do want to turn the lights on. Let's see how we do that. So real quick in here, it's going to give you some basic features. Some items here to note: the chassis, which they're calling girder, is fully metal. The vehicle has full ball bearings, metal portal axle gears, 2-speed transmission. The lights are going to be very, very cool. It's also mentioning here that the spare tire is usable. Again, you got information here on the vehicle's main dimensions. Although I do feel that a 9,000 milliamp hour is slightly incorrect. Maybe there's a multiplier wrong there, but yeah, about that. This is all pretty interesting information if you are messing with the electronics, which I commonly do. So you can pause there and see what everything does on that main unit. Okay, the important bit here on the radio, number 12 over here, toggle switch to set the related function of the ESC, so we'll cover that shortly. So something that I really like on this radio is the RX battery indicator will tell you the status of the battery on the vehicle. So green is stating that it is fully charged. It'll turn orange when it's lowering down a little bit, red when it's low, and then it'll flash in red when it needs to be changed. Very, very useful. This LED is a status indicator that you can use for various calibrations. I think they're going to use that there. And then I always like to show the functionality for the dip switches here, so you can see the various modes. I typically use forward, reverse, and brake, specifying which battery to use. Now, even though this does come with a LiPo, you still can use a nickel metal hydride if you've got one. And then you've got your drag brake settings. So I like to take a photo of this and keep it on the phone in a special reference folder for when I need this information on the trail. And notice in the manual, it came with some extra decals too. I don't know if any of these look particularly familiar, but it has them anyway. In terms of lighting, so a couple of things. When the vehicle drives forward, do we have lights? Okay, no lights going forward. When we go reverse, and that always annoys me that I don't understand why it has red lights when you're backing up. So that's on. When you reverse, okay, so we're going to push this button here for channel 4. Okay, so now we have our headlights and our roll bar lights, which look really good. I love yellow roll bar lights. I wish the taillights were on. Press the button once more. they all get brighter. Once more, you've got this hazard setting, so that exists at the rear as well. So you've got rear turn signals. And then I think the last one, yeah, it kills everything. You have turn signals, and I don't think those can be disabled. Again, I still think it's odd that you don't have rear lights when when the lights come on. It's also odd that they've chosen to place the lights in the high beam location and the turn signals in the headlight location. I wonder if we can alter that by messing with it. I bet we can. Before I drive this, I want to pull the body off, and I want to add some details. So to pull the body off, you do not need to take these two screws, which take the bumper off. As it turns out, it's this screw here and one here, which is partially hidden by this nut. And this is a 1.5 millimeter screw right there. And then at the front, it's this one and this one there, which are Phillips screws, and the whole thing should come right out. We're going to mark where the plugs go and then unplug those. You've got to unplug this little cluster of 3 wires that I'm moving right there, and you want to make sure you grab it with some pliers down at the plastic. And then you want to pull this set here, which I think is for the headlights. I wanted to paint the inside area of the light because that's all black right now. So to pull the lens off, I just pushed on that little clip right there that you see at the end, right there, with a little screwdriver where it protrudes from that hole right where my thumb is pointing, and the lens just pops straight out. Next, I'm going to push the LEDs out because I want to, well, I want to modify something, and then we'll paint that area in silver. All right, I've painted the lens area in silver, and as you can tell by that hole, what is that little smudge? Let's fix that. As you can tell with this hole here, I've decided to take a lovely brand new body and ruin it by putting a hole in it. I've also decided that we needed amber turn signals, so I painted that on the back side with a paint pen in orange. And let's go ahead and reassemble that and put the LEDs back in. For the taillights, it seems that they're actually on upside down. I think they're reversed. In the images I've seen, the smaller section on top, sorry, I can't do this one hand here. This area here should be that small area in amber, then white, and then the lower section should be red. So based on the images, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pull these out, flip them around, and then paint them appropriately. I've got the car back together, and as you can see, I've made some slight alterations. I did add some stripes because I love stripes. And then I couldn't be bothered with the factory wheels, which actually are not that far off from the factory Toyota LC80 wheels in the late 90s, but I wanted to have the earlier style that you actually commonly see on the 4Runner. And then I went with blue because it's not silver. Of course, the headlights are looking a heck of a lot better. Same with the taillights. I'm loving that. Those different colors back there. If we turn the lights on, we can see that the headlights have in fact moved. And our signals are now in the signal location. Of course, if you don't like signals, you can always just take them out. Let's take it for a spin. Yep. Keep driving. Okay, go around it then.
think that away and step here. Not there. No. There. Put that thing back on a pull-up. I can reach it. Hey, wait a minute. Right, okay.
That's doing really good.
Look at it go. Look at it go. That is so neat.
Oh, guess what was funny? When we went to the YMCA Halloween party on Friday.
Oh, we drove by and saw the bouncy house.
After a lot of, oh, you were with them? Yeah. So guess who was leading the haunted house? Workout guy. Yeah. He was the Joker. He was really good. He led us through the whole haunted house. I don't know, but I said, I recognize you.
I was not surprised about any of the vehicle's behavior or driving characteristics. As someone who has a lot of experience with the FCX model line, this thing was just as good as all of the others were. Easy to drive, very, very smooth, very, very capable. The oil fill shocks were outstanding. I thought perhaps the viscosity of the oil is a little bit on the high side. I kind of like a little bit more bounciness, but I'm not going to split hairs here. The vehicle was fantastic. Like the FCX24, this is still pretty darn small. As you saw earlier, I did calculate the scale of this, and it's nearly 1/18 scale, I think 17.8 or something. But just to give you a size reference, here's a vehicle that a lot of people consider small. So that's the WPL C54. This is the early C54. Now I have put much, much smaller tires on this thing, and it didn't occur to me that I put the same wheels. I guess I like that style of wheel. Nevertheless, this is a much, much bigger vehicle than what we're looking at here. And comically, this is the cheaper one. But you're going to see a big difference when it comes to build quality. Although this is larger, more capable, this is unpainted. Out of the box, the entire chassis is completely plastic on this vehicle. It's in a lot more, it doesn't come with lights, it doesn't have a 2-speed, it doesn't come with bearings. There's a lot of things that differentiate these two vehicles. So it's almost difficult to consider them competitors, because really the only thing they share is a sub 1/10 scale size, and in this case here, the same body style. But the real question is, do you want one? If you're used to how a 1/10 scale vehicle will perform outdoors, this probably isn't the best idea. It is much, much smaller, and it's likely it's not going to be able to compete if you and your buddies all go out one day. It's a bit on the small side. However, what you're going to get with this one here is absolutely sensational looks, wonderful performance, bearing in mind that it is a smaller vehicle. The 2-speed transmission on this thing is an absolute thing of beauty. In low gear, it's able to just barely inch its way along and effectively drive straight up a mountain. And the beauty is, in second gear, it's capable of going your walking pace, if not faster. A lot of these smaller scale cars cannot keep up with you if you're just walking, let alone at a brisk pace. The fact that we have a lot of metal components, we've got metal portal gears, we've got ball bearings, we've got fantastic electronics, and a battery life of about 34 years, it's quite difficult to overlook this one here, even if you do want something to take outside. Again, don't think you're going to have a 110 scale competitor, but you are going to have a more than competent vehicle, especially if what you currently have is something of significantly smaller scale, smaller vehicle. You know, one of these little guys is really going to struggle to do anything outdoors given its diminutive size, whereas this guy here is remarkably competent. My friends, thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.